1.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection to order. This morning we have a number of governor's messages on our agenda for confirmation to a variety of our professional vocational boards and commissions. Just in the unfortunate event that our technology goes out and we are not able to restore it swiftly, we will continue to finish up our hearing if we don't get through everything tomorrow, Thursday, March the 11th at 9:30 in conference room 229, and of course the video conference. So welcome to our committee members that are joining us on Zoom. I'm joined in conference room 229 by Senator Clarence Nishihara, and I see Senator Bennett Michelucha on Zoom, and I'm sure there will be others joining us as we move forward. So let's get started with our first governor's message. We have governor's message 532 and 533, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Board of Acupuncture gubernatorial nominee Brooke Foreman, first for a term to expire 6/30/2021, and then for a full term to expire 6/30/2025. And let's see, we have testimony. Oh, here's my little handy gadget. We have testimony from DCCA. I think DCCA is joining us on Zoom. Rise? Ms. Doi?
Oh, good morning, Chair and members of the committee. This is Rise Doi, Executive Officer for the Board of Acupuncture. We stand on a written testimony in support of the confirmation of Dr. Foreman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We have Wailuku Community Acupuncture testimony in support. And my computer is not being nice to me. We have Dr. J. Macaulay Burke in support. We have Angela Leddington Fisher, who is a PT, in support, and Dr. Patricia Sanchez. Is there anybody else joining us on Zoom who wants to testify on these two governor's messages? If not, members, it will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent when we get to that point. Our next pair of governor's messages is governor's message 534 and 535. This is submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Board of Dentistry gubernatorial nominees Paul Guevara for a term to expire 6/30/2021 and a term to expire 6/30/2025. So we have an interim appointee that we are confirming and then a full term. We have DCCA, Sandra Matsushima.
Can you hear me better?
Yes. We can't. Sandra, are you representing DCCA? I cannot hear you if you are talking.
Hi, Senator Baker. I think she's having audio issues.
Can you hear me, Keita? No.
Now we can.
I can't hear, but.
Can somebody, if we have an email for her, send her a note and just tell her to go ahead and give her testimony?
Hi, good morning, Chair Baker, members of the committee. The board supports the appointment and reappointment of Dr. Paul Guevara to the Board of Dentistry.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate your testimony. We actually have all of the written testimony, so thank you so much for joining us. The next governor's message, can I get a pen, please? The next governor's message is 536, for consideration and confirmation of the Board of Massage Therapy gubernatorial nominee Amy Okura for a term to expire 6/30/2025 23. And for this one, we have DCCA, Rise.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. It's Rise Doi, Executive Officer for the Board of Massage Therapy. We stand on our written testimony in support of the confirmation of Ms. Sakura. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have testimony and support from the Klein Natural Health and Wellness Center and from Chris Yoakum. Is there anybody else on the Zoom call that wants to testify on Governor's Message 356? As with the other messages, it will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent. Governor's Message 537 is next on our agenda. This is submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Board of Physical Therapy gubernatorial nominee Joanne Zazera for a term to expire 6/30/2024. Is the Director Colon on? Yes, there you are. Good morning, Director.
Good morning, Chair, and members of the committee. Kat Awakuni Kalon on behalf of DCCA. Thank you very much for holding this hearing this morning and for all of the work that you're doing for all of these boards. I'm happy to stand on our testimony in support of this particular nominee. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Our next nominee is from, our next testifier is from Queens Health System.
Good morning, Chair Baker and committee members. My name is Lucy Lassard. I'm the Director of Rehabilitation at the Queens Health System. Queens Health System stands in full support, strong support of Joanne Zazera. She's been an employee of ours since 2014 and is a strong advocate for consumers. Mahalo for giving us the opportunity to.
Thank you so much. We also have Jeremy Agaron in support and Herbert Yee in support. Anybody else wishing to offer comment on Governor's Message 357? If not, we'll go on to the next one, and when we get to the appropriate time, we'll be recommending that we advise and consent to Governor's Message 537. Our next two Governor's Messages, 538 and 539, submit for consideration and confirmation to the Board of Private Detectives and Guards, gubernatorial nominee Scott Collins for a term to expire 6/30/2021, and also for a term to expire 6/30/2025. And let's see, do we have Chelsea Kokunaga on the Zoom?
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. I am Chelsea Fukunaga, Executive Officer for the Board of Private Detectives and Guards. The board will stand on its written testimony in support of our licensed member, Scott Collins.
Okay, thank you so much. We have Albert Spike Dennis in support, Franklin Don Picaro Jr. in support, and Bert Kobayashi Jr. in support. Anybody else wishing to offer comment on Governor's Message 538 or 539? If not, we'll move forward and...
Oh, sorry,
No. Thank you very much. We'll be recommending confirmation on these two Governor's Messages at the end of our hearing. The next Governor's Message is 540. This is submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Board of Speech Pathology and Audiology, gubernatorial nominee Aaron Furman for a term to expire 6/30/2022. And we have Christopher Fernandez from DCCA joining us on Zoom. Christopher?
Hi, Senator Baker. He's not present.
Okay. We have testimony and support from DCCA. We also have testimony and support from Matthew Muranaka and Wendy Saka. Is there anybody else on the call that would like to testify on Governor's Message 540? If not, members will be recommending advise and consent. We have a number of very excellent nominees. Our next governor's message is 541, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Real Estate Commission, gubernatorial nominee P. Denise LaCosta, for a term to expire 6/30/2024. Let's see. We have Neil Fujitani. Is Neil? I see the nominee on the call. Good morning, P. Denise. DCCA, Neil Fujitani. Apparently he's having some issues with his technology this morning. The DCCA submitted testimony in support, as did these other individuals: Bruce Faulkner, Mary Beischer, Jack Nadich, Amy Johnson, and Tracy Michelle O'Reilly. And anybody else wishing to offer comment on Governor's Message 541? I think we've been joined by Senator Joy San Buenaventura. Am I recognizing you through the mask? Okay, got it. So members, it will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent to Governor's Message 541 when we get to the end of our agenda. Ms. LaCosta comes very well recommended, and I know that she has an excellent reputation as a realtor on Maui. So P. Denise, we will be voting to confirm you, and you're welcome to stay on the call with us, or we'll let you know when we're done. Thank you. Our next governor's message is 542, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Boxing Commission of Hawaii, gubernatorial nominee Mark Ozaki, for a term to expire 6/30/2024. This is a reappointment. Do we have Mr. Alan Taniguchi of DCCA on the Zoom call with us?
Morning, Chair, members of the committee. The commission supports the reappointment of Mr. Ozaki to the Boxing Commission.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ozaki is a public member of the commission and is being reappointed. Any questions for Mr. Taniguchi? If not, it will be the chair's pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent to Governor's Message 542. The next governor's message is 543, also for the Boxing Commission, gubernatorial nominee Mike Yadao, for a term to expire 6/2022. And this is an amended expiration date. We had another governor's message that amended the date. But for confirmation purposes, the term will expire 6/2022. Let's see. Director Colon.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and members of the committee. I'm happy to stand on our testimony in support of Mr. Yadao, and I appreciate, we've worked with him previously, so we gladly welcome him as a public member to this board. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, we also received testimony from David Kano, who is a coach and an instructor, and says that he wholeheartedly supports Mr. Yadao. He has had an opportunity to know him and to work with him, and says that Mr. Yadao will bring value and much needed understanding of the intricacies of such an important commission. So when we get to the end of our agenda, it will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent on this governor's message as well. The next governor's message is 544, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Boxing Commission of Hawaii, gubernatorial nominee Joel Kim, for a term to expire 6/30/2024. Director Colon.
Good morning again, Chair and members. We also are happy to stand in support of Mr. Kim for the Boxing Commission. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. We also have testimony in support from Eiichi Jumawan, Sean Wilson, Nante Manangan, and Hubert Men. Anybody else on the call that wishes to offer a comment on Governor's Message 544? If not, members, it will be my pleasure to recommend confirmation for this Governor's Message. let's move forward to Governor's Message 545. This is another conferee to the boxing, nominee rather, to the State Boxing Commission, Michael Freitas, for a term to expire 6/30/2024. This is a reappointment as well. He's the current chair and is a public member. Mr. Taniguchi, do we have testimony from DCCA?
Yes, morning, Chair, members of the committee. The commission stands on its testimony supporting the reappointment of Mr. Freitas.
Okay, thank you so much. We also have testimony and support from Eiichi Jumawan and Herbert Min. Anybody else wishing to offer comment on this governor's message? If not, members, it will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent on Governor's Message 545. Our next Governor's Message is 608. This is submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Board of Pharmacy, gubernatorial nominee Kent Kikuchi for a term to expire 6/30/2025. Director Colon.
Good morning again, Chair, members. We are happy to stand in support of Mr. Kikuchi as a licensee member to this pharmacy board. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. We have testimony in support of this nominee from Representative Tokioka, member from Hawai'i, Michael Robinson, Tess Shimabukuro, Ken Shimonishi, and Joy Matsuyama, who is a registered pharmacist. Anybody else wishing to offer comment on this governor's message? If not, members, it will be my pleasure to recommend confirmation on this governor's message. Let's go next to Governor's Message 609, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Elevator Mechanics Licensing Board, gubernatorial nominee Mark Baker, no relation, for a term to expire 6/30/2022. Kaden Kleinens?
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members. Keaton Kleinhans of the Elevator Mechanics Licensing Board. We stand in our testimony in support of Mr. Baker's appointment to the board. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And my chair's apologies for butchering your name. We also have testimony in support from Robert Grieg, Mark Yamani, Evan Fong, and Robert Summers. Did I see the nominee on the Zoom call?
I am present, Senator Baker.
Very good. Did you want to add anything?
I'm honored to serve and look forward to making a positive contribution.
Okay, thank you so much. It will be my pleasure to recommend to my colleagues that we advise and consent to your nomination, and look forward to your service on the board.
Thank you.
Our next governor's message is 610, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Hawaii Board of Optometry, gubernatorial nominee Peter Cyril, for a term to expire 6/30/2024. Director Colon.
Good morning again, Chair, members. We're happy to stand on our written testimony in support of Dr. Cyril as the licensee member to the Optometry Board. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. We also have testimony in support from Robert Silverman, writing in strong support, having known this individual his entire life and can unreservedly attest to his integrity, judgment, and sense of service to the state. Testimony coming all the way from Virginia. Very good. And we have K. James Steiner Jr. also in support. Anybody else wishing to offer comment on Governor's Message 610? If not, members, it will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent to Governor's Message 610. The next Governor's Message on our agenda this morning is 611, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Hawaii Medical Board, gubernatorial nominee Jerry Young, for a term to expire 6/30/2025. And Alani Kioki. Did I sort of get it right, Alani?
You did. You got it right. Thank you, Chair Baker, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Alani Keoki, Executive Officer of the Hawai'i Medical Board. The board supports the reappointment of Dr. Young to the board as a licensee member for the County of Kauai. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have testimony and support from Dr. Les Chun, Polimomi, or Hawaii Pacific Health, Robert Rotrig, the Kauai Clinic of Hawaii Pacific Health, and Joni Giemer Flanders, who's an osteopathic doctor in the state. All in strong support of Governor's Message 611. It will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent to Governor's Message 611. Our next Governor's Message is 612. This is submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Hawaii Medical Board Gubernatorial Gary Belcher for a term to expire 6/30/2025. Director Colon.
Good morning again. DCC is happy to stand on its written testimony in support of Mr. Belcher as a public member to the Hawaii Medical Board. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. For those of you who may be new to our confirmation process, there are licensee members of all of these boards as well as public members, so that there's a nice balance there. Also submitting testimony in support of this nominee as a public member to the Hawaii Medical Board is Arthur Richard Philpott. We also have testimony in support from Courtney Matsu, Dr. Courtney Matsu, from Dr. Minhai Yu in support, Lamont Dahlquist in support, and Dr. Danny Takanishi in support. Anybody else wishing to offer comment on Governor's Message 612? If not, members, it will be my pleasure to recommend advise and consent, and let's move on to Governor's Message 613. This Governor's Message is for consideration confirmation to the Pest Control Board, gubernatorial nominee William Lee for a term to expire 6/30/2024. Director Colon.
Good morning again, everyone. We are happy to stand on our testimony in support of Mr. Lee as a licensee member to the Pest Control Board. He was first appointed to the board on an interim basis on January 11th of last year. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. We also have testimony in support from Leslie Ishimoto, from Joseph Marsh, Justin Barrios, Craig Takamine, Mary Bijger, and Kona Moran. Anybody else wishing to offer comment on Gubernatorial Message 613? If not, members, it will be my recommendation that we advise and consent to this governor's nominee as well. As I said, I think we've got some excellent appointees. Governor's Message 614, submitting for consideration confirmation also to the Pest Control Board gubernatorial nominee John Speed for a term to expire 6/30/2023. This is a new appointment representing a licensed pest control operator. Director Colon.
Good morning again, Chair, members. Yes, you're right, Chair. This is a licensed member position, and we stand on our written testimony in strong support of Mr. Speed to the Pest Control Board. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We also have testimony in support from Neil Mitsuyoshi, from Dana Nimoto-shima, from Ron, wait a minute, I'm sorry. I skipped down, not following the script here. For Governor's Message 614, which is the nominee of John Speed for a term to expire 6/30/2023 as a licensee member of the Pest Control. In addition to the testimony we heard from Director Colon, we have testimony and support from Gavin Thornton and Kalani A. Morse. So it will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent and send this to the floor for full confirmation, Governor's Message 614. All right. back on track here. Let's go to Governor's Message 615, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the State Board of Barbering and Cosmetology gubernatorial nominee Raynette Hall for a term to expire 6/30/2024. This is a new appointment. Director Colon.
Thank you again, Chair. The department stands on its written testimony in support of Ms. Hall as a licensee member to the Barbering and Cosmetology Board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We also have testimony in support of this governor's message from the Chamber of Commerce of Hawaii and from Jody Indochai. Anybody else wishing to offer comment on Governor's Message 615? If not, members, it will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent to Governor's Message 615. Our next Governor's Message is 621, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the Board of Professional Engineers, Architects, Surveyors, and Landscape Architects, gubernatorial nominee Tony Lau for a term to expire 6/30/2025. This is a reappointment representing a professional engineer. Director Colon.
Thank you, Chair, members. The department stands in strong support of Mr. Lau as a licensee member to the ISLA Board. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We also have testimony in support from BG Neil Mitsuyoshi, Dana Nimoto Shima, Ron E. Iwamoto, Glenn Miyasato, and Timothy Goshi. Anybody else wishing to offer comment on Governor's Message 621? If not, members, it will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent on this Governor's Message. Our next Governor's Message is 622, submitting for consideration and confirmation also to the ISLA Board, Ken Katayama for a term to expire 6/30/2024. This is a reappointment and he represents professional engineers.
Good morning, Chair Baker and members of the committee. This is Sandra Matsushima. My apologies for the technical difficulty I had a few minutes ago. The board stands in support of the confirmation of Kevin Katayama to the ISLA Board. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We also have testimony and support from Alan Urasaki, Ron E. Iwamoto, and also from Harold Y. Inoue, who is an architect and president of Anabi Aruga and Ishizu Architects, Inc., also in support. Anybody else here wishing to offer comment on Governor's Message 622? If not, members, it will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent to Governor's Message 622. Our next Governor's Message is 623. This is submitting for consideration also to the ISLA Board, gubernatorial nominee Dan Hirota for a term to expire 6/30/2024. This is a reappointment, and Mr. Hirota is a professional surveyor. Sandra Matsushima.
Yes. Good morning again. The board stands in support of the confirmation of Dan Hirota to the ISLA Board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We also have testimony and support from Alan Urasaki, from Alan Inaba, from Joel Kurokawa, from Roberto Umol, and Ron Iwamoto. Anybody else wishing to offer comment on Governor's Message 623? If not, members, it will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent on this Governor's Message. Our next Governor's Message this morning is 624, submitting for consideration and confirmation to the to the Motor Vehicle Licensing Board, Marie White, for a term to expire 6/30/2023. This is a new appointment. She is appointed as a public member, not connected with the industry. Mr. Kleinens, DCCA? We cannot hear you. Unmute. I think you might be on now. Try. Unfortunately, we cannot hear you. But I'm going to assume that you are testifying in support for this public member. We also have testimony from Steve Chow and Allison Ueoka. Let's go back and see if we can have the DCCA representative try again.
Testing, hello?
Yes, now we can hear you.
All right. Sorry about that. Morning again, Chair, Vice Chair members. Keating Kleinhans of the Motor Vehicle Industry Licensing Board. We stand on our testimony in support of Ms. White's appointment to the board as a public member. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for your perseverance. Our next governor's message is, so there's no doubt, Chair will be recommending advising consent on governor's message, 624 when we get there. Our next governor's message is 625. This is submitting for consideration confirmation to the Motor Vehicle Industry Licensing Board. Nominee Stephen Chow for a term to expire 6/30/2024. He is a reappointment representing a private citizen not connected with the industry. DCCA.
Chair, Vice Chair members, Keating Kleinhans again. We stand on our testimony in support of Mr. Chow's reappointment to the board as a public member. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We also have testimony in support from Roy Sasuga and Mark Maruyama in support. Members, it will be my pleasure to recommend that we advise and consent. Our next governor's message is 656. This is recommending for the Board of Veterinary Medicine, Robert Jordan, for a term to expire 6/30/2024. He is a reappointment and is a licensed veterinarian practicing in Kailua, Kona. DCCA, Carrie?
Good morning, Chair Baker, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Terry Shahan, Executive Officer of the Board of Veterinary Medicine. The board stands on our written testimony in support of the reappointment of Robert Jordan, DVM.
Okay. Thank you. Our next governor's message is 657, also submitting a nominee to the Board of Veterinary Medicine, Eileen Wada, for a term to expire 6/30/2025. Eileen is a public member and is a reappointment. Carrie, DCCA?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The board stands on our written testimony in support of the reappointment of Ms. Eileen Wada. Thank you.
Okay. We also have testimony in support from Derek Yamani, Mary Beischer, and Chris Kitaoka. And I believe that brings us to the end of our hearing this morning. As I said earlier, we have some really excellent nominees to these boards and commissions that are very vital to the process of professional and vocational licensing. And so the chair is recommending that we advise and consent to all of these. Do we have a quorum?
I believe, wait. Oh, yes, now we do.
Okay, so we have Senator Joyce San Buenaventura joining us. We have Vice Chair Stanley Chang joining us, and Senator Bennett Mizalucha joining us. So we do have a quorum. Members, I'm going to, with your permission, all of these are excellent. I'm going to take them all in one motion, as the chair has indicated the desire to take these to the floor. They're all excellent members, and we appreciate very much their service, the new members as well as those being reappointed. So for the record, the recommendation to the members of the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection is to advise and consent on these governor's messages: 532, 533, 534, 535, 536, 537, 538, 539, 540, 541, 542, 543, 544, 545, 608, 609, 610, 611, 612, 613, 614, 615, 621, 622, 623, 624, 625, 656, and 657. Are there any questions or concerns? If not, let me call the roll. The recommendation is to advise and consent. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Stanley Chang.
Aye.
Thank you. Senator Mizalucha.
Aye.
Senator Nishihara.
Aye.
Senator Riviere. I believe Senator Riviere is excused. Senator San Buenaventura.
Aye.
Thank you. And Senator Favela, are you on the call? If not, we have 5 ayes, 2 excused. All these governor's messages have been adopted, and we will be writing committee reports that will take them to the floor where we will all get an opportunity to vote there. Thank you so much, members, for joining us this morning, and we are adjourned.